As always, we have a lot to get to. I want to start tonight first with kind of more just positive sort
Sure.
of news in
Yeah.
politics, something that we rarely see anymore. Joe Biden was just in my state of Florida. He actually flew into the airport in the city in which I live, which is a small city. So we don't have a huge airport. So he flew into that airport because a lot of the places that were damaged were close to probably the closest airport was ours. So Air Force One flew right into our little town, and he made his trek over to a few of the cities that were damaged by Hurricane Idalia. And during that trip, he was there, and normally you would see the governor of the state there with him, and Ron DeSantis, who is our governor. If you do not know that, by the way, you're watching Black and White with Brian Rundle and Lana Quest.
Yes, you are.
And Ron DeSantis refused, and he did not go. But Tim Scott did show up, who is a senator here in Florida, and I was.
Rick Scott.
Rick Scott. What did I say?
Tim Scott.
Did I say Tim Scott? I'm sorry.
Was Tim Scott trying to get brownie points?
Right, exactly. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Rick Scott. Yeah, Rick Scott was in. He's a senator here in Florida, and he was with the president, and there was actually cordial moments between the two. I got a clip of that. We're going to play that real quick here.
I want to thank the senator. I mean sincerely for giving me all the information I needed, being cooperative as the devil, and he's been very complimentary about your operation. And I appreciate that. And I told him that we're here as long as it takes. Mr. Mayor, I warn everyone, don't ever run for mayor. They know where you live. Thank you very much.
Can I just say something real quick about what the president's done? First off, the president did a great job with the early declaration before the storm hit the coast. That was a big deal. It helped all these first responders. And then how fast you approved through FEMA the individual assistance, the public assistance, and the re-pickup is a big deal to every one of these communities. These are not rich communities. These are many of them struggle. And so what the federal government's doing by FEMA being a great partner and the federal government being a great partner is a big deal. And so I want to thank you for doing that very quickly. Yes.
Before I shit on Ron DeSantis, I mean, nice, right? I mean, isn't that what we're supposed to see in politics?
Yeah. Like, how hard is that? And then go back the next day and call him old Joe or what, Sleepy Joe. Like, come on, just give it a day. That's just so stupid.
It really is. And, the fact that we're talking about, Rick Scott would say something like that, and I'm sure in his mind, there's part of him that's like, oh, I'm going to get killed for this one, or I'm going to get blasted. In fact, if you remember during the debates, Chris Christie was arguing with Ramaswamy, and Ramaswamy brought up the fact that he hugged Barack Obama when he came through. In America, you would think that that's really what our politics are supposed to be like. There was a time where you would just kind of argue policy. Now you're just the enemy of the other party.
Right.
And, I mean, let's be honest. The Republicans have made the Democrats the enemy. The Democrats don't necessarily want the Republicans to be the enemy, but they're become the enemy.
Right. They're again, it's the projection, right? It's like Obama divided the country, and it's like, no, he didn't. You guys have been constantly and consistently dividing the country. Like, you can't even say when a good job is being done. Yeah. Like, you can't give credit where credit is due, because it's like, oh my God, my base, Trump's base, like, that's really maddening. It's kind of sickening. Like, these people shouldn't even be voting. They're just really, really dumb. This is just really dumb.
Yeah, it went to, from the media, was the sort of checks and balances for the politicians out there. Now the media dictates how these politicians act. And it's, like I said, it's just, I wish we could go back to that old stuff. Maybe we would never have started these kind of podcasts, but it's just so crazy now that I've said it on my show before. Anybody can do these podcasts now because the material that is written in what's going on in this crazy world, anybody can talk about it and find at least some sort of entertainment from it. It's just out of control. And I really, I liked seeing that, and I appreciate the senator for being cordial and actually saying something that would probably did. I'm not saying it did, but maybe somewhere on Fox News or Newsmax, they played that clip and was very angry. Or maybe they just didn't play it at all because they didn't want to
even
know
play, right.
that could possibly happen.
Which is just so, what are you going to say? Biden didn't do anything? FEMA's there, so he had to have done something.
Well, that's what they are going to say because they did it in Maui. They said Biden didn't say anything about Maui. Oh, he only gave $700 per, for FEMA, even though that was the max limit that you were allowed to give. He gave the max amount that you were allowed to give through FEMA. So it's, like I said, it's refreshing to see something like that. I really do wish we could go back to a lot more of that. Sure, there's going to be battles and heads butt and everything, but battles and headbutt used to be over policy. It wasn't over, just some of the most bizarre and
we don't even know what it's over with Ron DeSantis. He's just petty. It's just like everybody hates Biden. Okay, I gotta hate Biden too. It's just so. He turned down money, like the infrastructure money.
Correct. And I'm glad you brought that up. It was $350 million that was afforded to the state of Florida in order to inject more energy efficient programs in the state of Florida, which of course this state probably needs it just about as badly or the most of any state in the country. There's a reason why a lot of the insurance companies are bailing from this state. And one of the reasons is, and make no mistake about it, one of the reasons is that when you basically have a governor that says, fuck climate change, they're going to kind of be like, well, fuck you, because we're the ones who have to pay for the damage from this climate change that's clearly happening.
Right. And it's like DeSantis' supporters are like, well, you act like, can he stop climate change? But no, Ron DeSantis cannot stop it on his own, but he can mitigate
it. When you have anything that is offered to you to help, like you said, mitigate it, no, it's not going to stop. But there are methods that we can use. And again, the state of Florida needs it more than just about any other state. And to turn it down, and I haven't personally heard exactly why he turned it down, but the only thing that you could think of is out of pettiness or kind of like, I ain't wasting that kind of money in my state. And it just, these are the people that are elected into office that are supposed to help the people of the state and of this country. And really, it's more about scoring points with a crazy, batshit, crazy media, I think, at some point.
Yeah. Because remember, they were like, oh, the Biden administration wants to take your stoves, or something like that. I can't even remember. Was it stove or the refrigerator?
It was gas stoves. Did you hear the new one too, that there was a recommendation that for your health, the best thing to do is to drink only 2 beers a week. Now, of course, what did that turn into on Fox News? And Ted Cruz and all these morons are saying now Joe Biden's trying to take away your beer. And we already know what beer does to the emotional psyche of people in this country. So when you bring up that it has been suggested, not by Joe Biden, it was suggested by a health organization. It's not something that is going to be implemented. It's the same thing as they're coming to take your gun. It's so corny. And we've got people who listen to it and believe it and just run with it and talk about it. And Ted Cruz did this whole, I wish I had that clip because I don't. It's really cringeworthy and he's trying to act tough but it was again, it's just this ridiculous media that we have to listen to, and people sometimes unfortunately do and believe every word of it.